you look at even places like the Shanghai Gold Exchange and the Shanghai Futures Exchange. Last week, they had in total about 140,000 kilos of silver delivered off the exchange. And both of these exchanges are at their all-time, well, not all-time, at new fresh lows of inventory since silver squeeze. You're seeing, last week we saw 1.9 million ounces of silver leave COMEX and SLV. There's someone who wants physical silver, right, and something's going on. Keith Neumeyer came out and said, while he was at a couple of conferences this year, that for the first year he's seen car manufacturers present at these conferences. They're trying to disintermediate the bullion banks and go directly to guys like Keith and say, we'll take production. We don't want to screw with COMEX. We'll go right to you.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, well, a Tesla takes about a kilo of silver, and as the demand for battery-powered vehicles and the demand for green and digital applications continues to grow, you'll see more and more and more industrial need for silver, where it's a depleting asset that is really experienced a renaissance in terms of its monetary value and appreciation. So you're setting up for a war between the industrials and the investors or the hedge funds. I think that's coming also. But you see BlackRock, who increased its PSLV holdings to almost 22 million shares. The interesting thing is that they're one of the custodians also of SLV, and yet they're buying PSLV.
Right.
PSLV you can't short. SLV you can. PSLV is a more pure play, I guess, if you will, and it's less corrupt than, well, it's not corrupt. What is corrupt is SLV and GLD ETFs that you can naked short, which is crazy.
Silver prices hit a 4-week high, riding the wave of softer U.S. economic data and Fed speculations. A weaker U.S. dollar and falling Treasury yields linked to waning consumer confidence powered this rally. Despite affordable silver coins, many cling to counterfeit fake dollars, as Robert Kiyosaki notes in Who Can't Afford One Silver Coin. As the Federal Reserve watches economic tremors, silver's fate hangs in the balance. The wait-and-see approach raises hopes for silver investors, though caution prevails. Gold surged to a 3-week high as the U.S. dollar dipped. This sparks questions about further Fed tightening and boosts gold's appeal. Gold dances to the dollar's tune, and recent moves suggest a significant role in commodity markets. It's a vital player in dollar-based assets. Don't forget to join us as we explore the unfolding events. Now let's continue our discussion with Andy.
You always get the naysayers and you think you're talking your book. I guess my only comment to that is those people have never owned anything. Right. Those people have never built anything. Those people weren't saying that to companies like mine 20 years ago when it was impossible to stay in business, when nobody wanted to hear anything from anyone that was doing anything with precious metals. And
right.
I just don't think that capitalism and being a good person have to be mutually exclusive. I think you can have good intentions and really want to be pure about what you're doing to help people out, to do the right thing, and to run a business, and to be proud about running a business that, I come from nothing. Our company's name is Miles Franklin. My dad's middle name is Miles. His best friend lent us $60,000. His middle name is Franklin. We started in a one-room office the size of a closet, and I come from nothing. And this country, I'm a patriot. This country, I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I'm a libertarian. I'm a patriot. This country has given me more opportunity than I could have ever have hoped for. And luck is when opportunity meets preparation. And, you have to be lucky in life, but you also can't drool on yourself when opportunity presents itself. Which kind of leads me to another topic that I want to just touch on. We talk a lot. We've talked a lot about the BRICS. We've talked a lot about what it means, the things that are happening with the BRICS. And, Saudi Arabia was formally admitted into the BRICS, as was Argentina, Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, and the United Arab Emirates. So when you combine Iran, the UAE, and Saudi Arabia, you're talking 80%, man, 80% of global oil production is now under the BRICS control. And, what's really crazy, you look at really what this means. You have You have Saudi Arabia, and I'm going to dovetail it into a comment that you just made, who is on the Belt Road Initiative. We've talked about that with every other OPEC country, all of them on the Belt Road, which is the largest infrastructure project in human history. It's up to 75% of human population, 50% of GDP globally, and growing. They have formally applied to the BRICS and have been accepted. They have formally applied to the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, which, again, let's just reiterate it, is the largest regional financial and military organization in the world. It's the Chinese army and Chinese markets and government behind it. They have formally applied to the BRICS New Development Bank. They told everyone in Davos that they'd be open to taking other currencies for oil. And, you said we're going green by 2050. What you mean by that is the executive order that President Biden signed said that by 2030, we will be 50% green. That's just 6 years away. And by 2050, 85% green. So you can understand why Saudi Arabia is pitching their tent in another camp. And, one of the things that you and I haven't talked about, I don't think, is the financial or the Economic Advisory Committee to the U.S. government. The number one economic advisor to the Biden administration is a man named Jared Bernstein, and his entire thesis is to shed the dollar's reserve status. He wrote a report or an article that was picked up in the New York Times, another one that was picked up in the Washington Post. The most famous one he wrote was Dethrone King Dollar, for which he advocates losing or shedding the world reserve currency status as a privilege we can no longer afford to have because of the imbalances and the distortions it creates. Well, if I wanted to lose the reserve status, the first thing I would do would be to weaponize the dollar and then sign an executive order. And by weaponizing the dollar, I mean kick Russia out of SWIFT, take their Forex reserves, not just sanction them, but confiscate them and say they're going to rebuild the Ukraine. And then I would tell Saudi Arabia, which is the linchpin to the dollar hegemony, hey, thanks, but we're going green. In fact, we just signed an executive order. So when people ask me, who's going to trust China and Russia and this? Okay, well, and my comeback has typically been, look, that's what gold and distributed ledger technology is all about. That's why gold was reclassified tier 1. That's what I think they're going to do. But I've been giving it a lot of thought lately, and you talk about what does make the dollar the world reserve and what makes our markets what they are. The dollar is the world reserve for a few reasons. One, because we have the petro status. Well, in essence, you could argue the petro status is now gone because the argument or the deal was that we would protect you and you don't sell oil for any other currency besides U.S. dollars, and then you recycle those dollars into our treasuries. Well, they're selling treasuries,
right, and
they're striking deals to like with China to sell their oil for yuan. You could argue that's gone, and the fact that they've joined the BRICS and the Belt Road and the Shanghai Cooperation Organization and the New Development Bank and have told the world they'll take other currencies, it is something that will be gone, if not completely gone, at some point.
Fact or fiction? Theories littered across social media about BlackRock's alleged Bitcoin buying spree. This past week, the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, delayed 7 spot Bitcoin exchange-traded funds, ETFs, including BlackRock's proposed iShares Bitcoin Trust. Alongside this news, Into the Block metrics indicate that from August 13 to the 31st, large BTC holders dubbed whales increased their cashes by $1.5 billion. Amidst the price consolidation and accumulation, a great number of crypto influencers on social media insist that BlackRock is secretly buying up all the Bitcoin. Robert Kennedy Jr., China doesn't want war with U.S. They want to bury us economically. That wraps up today's crypto news highlights. Stay tuned for more updates, insights, and analysis from the world of cryptocurrencies. Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more engaging content.